Bad news this morning for hundreds of thousands of people in West Virginia.
Tonight, 300,000 people in West Virginia are being told to stay away from their tap water.
A state of emergency has been declared in West Virginia in the USA.
Hundreds of thousands of citizens in West Virginia are heading into this weekend dealing with a major water emergency.
9 counties are dealing with a chemical spill. It contaminated the water supply. Up to 300,000 people are being told not to touch the tap water.
A chemical spill contaminated the water supply to more than 100,000 customers. That includes homes, businesses, even hospitals.
People are unable to use water for anything. That means no showering, no shaving, no morning coffee, and no idea just how much longer it'll take.
Crowds filled stores in West Virginia Thursday night, stocking up on everything from water to ice. Demand for the items so high, shelves were wiped clean.
Everybody's wanting water. There is no water, and that brings concern.
The water supply for hundreds of thousands became tainted after a chemical spilled into the Elk River in Charleston. The governor ordered a state of emergency.
Hourly tests are being carried out in the meantime, but authorities say it's unclear when they'll be able to lift the do not drink ban or when the water will be safe to use.
What the chemical spill taught us is that water is extremely valuable, and we just often take it for granted.
And that was really the start. You know, we were live on the air when it happened, and it just snowballed from there.
It was clear almost immediately that no one was prepared for something like that to happen.
You know, if you go out west, they have droughts on a regular enough basis that they understand the value of their water. It was pointed out to me by a visiting scientist, and he has spent a lot of time out west and here back east. And he's like, the one thing that you notice when you go out west is that every hotel, every place you go to has fountains, has water fountains. And when you come east, nobody does. And the reason out west is that they want to show you that they have water.
I think people need to advocate for their community and for safety in their community, no matter what it is. But when it comes to something as essential as water, know what's going into the water. Know how your water is processed. Understand what potential hazards there are along the waterways which feed your particular system. People didn't know. And they couldn't or didn't feel like they could trust those in positions of authority to tell them accurately what those things were. You know, we learned through this process that there really hadn't been an oversight process for above ground storage facilities in West Virginia. And the tank bill, which turned into a law, is a step in the right direction to ensuring that there is proper oversight and continued maintenance of those facilities that hopefully, you know, will keep something like this from happening again.
I don't think anyone had any clue what was going on. We just knew that there was a leak at Freedom and that residents weren't supposed to use water at all. Of course, having reported this and living in Charleston, we were just as affected as anyone else. So the first 3 days after the spill, people were coming to work unshowered, basically cleaning up as best you could with like baby wipes or whatever towels you had laying around that you could clean yourself with.
This was not handled well, in my opinion, at multiple levels. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact we were in uncharted territory. Some of it, I think, of our own making, some of it not. This was a chemical that we knew about and had been a part of the coal industry and the cleaning process for a number of years, but had not been studied very extensively. So we didn't have a lot of information from the scientific community to start with to know, you know, what are the effects? What are the potential hazards? What should we be telling people? And not just as the media, but what should the Department of Public Health be telling people? What should the water company be telling people? And so there was a scrambling at the beginning to just gather information to share. And I think that really sort of set the ball rolling for additional confusion and problems down the line.
Spill occurs on the Elk River. The Elk River is a water source for that area because it's so clean, right? And it is surrounded by a lot of dirty water. I mean, the cost of treating the Kanawha River for drinking water is exorbitant. I mean, you just it's so dirty you can't afford to. But the Elk River is a very clean river, one of the cleanest in the East, actually. And so you see how dependent then we have become as a state on our few really clean, productive water sources like the Elk River. And as we lose rivers and their value of drinking water and become dependent on very few, then we become very susceptible to something that would seem like to be a localized event. And instead, that localized event, it touched a third of the state, the residents. So there's a lesson in that.
It's impossible to imagine what that situation would have been like without social media.